The reality that you are experiencing at this very moment is based off of every action and decision that you have taken in the past. This present that people will tell you that, hey, you got to live in the present. You got to be present. You got to be present if you really want to experience life. Every man's life lies within the presence, for the past is spent and done with, and the future is uncertain. Marcus Aurelius will tell you from like 2,000 years ago. But I'm here to tell you that you need to drive your mind into a place where you are living and experiencing the present while simultaneously creating the future. You want future present mastery, because that is how you continually push towards having an amazing life to experience in the present in the first place. Welcome to Build with Rob. It is your boy, Rob Dyrdek, living that life with the machine mindset, pushing the philosophy of systematically fusing art, science, and magic, living a harmonious, high-quality life through time, energy, and clarity, mastery. These things that I want all of you to slowly adopt with time. You know, I just want everybody who enjoys this show or finds this show to know that, you know, each one of these shows is really about, you know, the journey that I'm on, the journey that I went on. And I need to remind everybody that getting to this level and evolving into this level, it only took me, 4 or 5 years, you know what I mean? Like, it took a few years of planning and execution, and then really implementing sort of this philosophy. And when I launched, even the vision that I had for sort of treating myself, more as a whole, and creating an entire life and business plan and vision for my future existence, I did that, and grew into it and became the philosophy. At that time, there's no part of me that would ever even have considered being some point in the future, I'm going to be in a podcast studio rattling off my personal philosophy on success 5 years later. Because I didn't have the success, I didn't have the harmony, I didn't have the joy and the fulfillment and the existence that I actually went and created. I still just was so hopeful it was even possible. In 2016, I didn't even know if it was even possible. I just put the effort into planning it and beginning to do it, and then actually living it, and then starting to think like, wow, this really worked. And then getting even deeper as I've gotten to higher and higher levels of like turning it into a philosophy that now I can, basically rattle off a piece of it, half hour at a time on this podcast is unthinkable to me. To the person I was, when I began the journey, but it's what's possible for everybody that listens to this show, and really, if you're just, checking out some of the earlier episodes, really like going back and checking out some of the older episodes where a lot of different parts of the overall philosophy live, even though for the most part it's sort of all integrated together, and every episode, like, I'm just, hoping to continually sort of reinforce how all these parts fit together and make up the whole of what the concept is, and how you can ultimately apply your version to your life to get a higher quality of life is ultimately what the mission here is, and what I'm really hoping people can take away from this. So again, if you haven't listened to the podcast, this is the first time. I would encourage you to go listen to some of the older episodes to get a further understanding. Again, they're basically half-hour little rants. But they all connect. They all connect back to sort of this singular philosophy of creating your life system, making a vision to your life. If you're an entrepreneur, a vision to your life and business, and ultimately integrating that together, and creating ways to design, create your future. Create systems, automate those systems, and optimize those systems to continually be a better and better version of yourself. If you are someone that listens all the time, you already know it. You already know we're back at it, and I love to talk about it. I love to say it. And look, today, I really want to get into this concept of like, you got to live in the present. If you really want to experience life, you got to be present. And I sit on the fence with this because I think that that's too straightforward, right? Because you have to think, like, in order to enjoy the present, like, you would have had to design it, create it, and by the time that you are experiencing it, in order to sink into it and really be present in it, it is because of all the work that you did in the past. And so this is sort of an ongoing process, in sort of your entire life at all times, and to me, I got a couple of the great quotes, the past is dead, the future is uncertain, the present is all we have. So eat, drink, and live merry. That's Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein's basically telling you to, like, wake up the following day and feel terrible. You know what I'm saying? Start over. You know what I mean? Like, for the smartest human being to ever walk the planet Earth and push our entire humanity forward, he's doing a disservice to people just trying to have a good life. Because there is just, yes, the past is dead and the future is uncertain, but the present isn't all that you have. The present is the product of the future from your past, right? And you get to create that on an ongoing basis. So you have to perpetually be in a state of creating and experiencing if you want to live life at a very high level. And to me, again, I call it future present mastery, where you can know exactly what you're experiencing, why, and with great probability it is what you had intended to experience, and while simultaneously thinking about how to continue that same feeling and evolution to where every day and every moment moving forward, you are experiencing a present that you intended at a high quality, amazing way, filled with energy and intention, the way that you would want to live if you were living happy on an ongoing basis. And it goes back to sort of, my way of thinking as it relates to your mind and where your mind's at, right? Because really, your mind is creating your future experience and implementing decisions and goals and strategies that lead to that present that you get to experience and live in a more higher level to bask in before creating the next future. And your state of being is in 5 places that I like to say. You're either dwelling and you're all upset, dwelling about the past. Oh, I wish this was different. Oh, I wish this wouldn't happen. Oh, like what's happening there is you are in fact chilling in the dead past, as Albert Einstein would say. Then action starts. Now it's okay. You're hit with an issue. You're problem solving. You're strategizing. You're taking action, and you're moving towards a better future. Or the next phase is you're actually experiencing what is happening, right? And then your next phase is you're creating what's next, Or on the other end of that, you're hoping and wishing, right? And so if you're dwelling on the past and wish something was different, or you're just like hoping and wishing the future is better, or even worrying about the future, right? Like you're just in a state of no action. You're taking no action, you're making no change, you're making no progress towards getting to a better place to experience and be able to live so that you can be more present. Like for me, one of the most powerful things of living a completely intentional life and designing time and having clear goals and continually assessing and adapting and evolving towards outcomes and a future that you want to live, this deep life of intention, it allows you to see and feel the present in a much more full and richer and vibrant way. Because you created it and implemented everything with a reason that by the time you get there, that your actual being is ready to experience it at a much higher level, and that's one of the gifts of really committing to mastering time, energy, and clarity, and getting hyper intentional about everything that you do in life. And look, it's getting to that state and getting to a state of being able to constantly being experienced and enjoying the present while continually creating the future is practice. It takes practice, you know what I mean? And it's you got to think about this. Being present is not like just some sort of thing that you're doing without trying. When you're being present, you're taking action to actually be present and experience it versus just kind of sitting there and you're being present, right? Like you actually have to take action to be present and be connected in the moment. And a lot of times, like the idea of needing to work to be present sounds counterintuitive, or what most people believe is not what you should be doing. Like being present should be the natural state when you're not thinking about the future or the past, right? And that is, in essence, not true, because you have to actually be in that moment and be experiencing it and knowing that you're present in order to feel present. And for me, look, it's, man, I'm, there's a lot of times in my life, like I have really, really like, created a scenario, created a strategy, a plan for an experience. And then when I was going in to experience it, then I told myself, you need to be clear your mind of everything so that you can get super, super intentional with being present and experiencing that. And to me, one of those is my wedding, the birth of my children, when I got attacked by the shark, you know what I mean? When I got attacked by a shark in the Bahamas, and they, for some reason, allow it to be legal for civilians who've never even dove before to dive down to a shipwreck and put a piece of tuna on their arm and let a reef shark come in and attack them. But it's legal in the Bahamas. It's not legal in the United States. I couldn't do that in Florida. And but I knew, like, man, you are never going to ever get to experience something like this again. Like, you have to be here and feel this in the realest way. And I remember even after it was over and adrenaline going and floating back up, I stopped myself and like looked down and have the most vivid memory of this wrecked ship and like 40 sharks everywhere. Like it was, this amazing experience that, started with a conversation of like, wouldn't it be funny? Like, it started with a conversation if my cousin would be willing to swim in bloody water in the ocean for a half hour for 50 G's, which led to, the joke of him getting attacked by a shark, which led to Jeff Tremaine saying like, hey, like we got a place where you can get attacked by a shark. Jeff Tremaine, the creator of Jackass and Wild Boys, like, of course he's got a guy that can attack you or get you attacked by a shark, and then made the decision that this would be a funny episode, and then went on the journey to get to this point where you now are diving into the water to be attacked by a shark. And again, a bit of a derail on really what I'm trying to like lay out here, in the sense of where you're at and where you're at mentally by the time you get to experience what you've created in the past. Because when you think about it more as it relates to your life, we tend to mistake worrying about the future as being practical and being more intentional with protecting ourselves and self-protection and sort of worrying about it in an effort that maybe something will change in the future or be less bad if we spend more time worrying about it. The impact of, by the time we get to the future that we don't want, it's going to be less impactful on us and less bad and less detrimental because we spent so much time worrying about it. And I think, there's certain people that I know that's more part of their process, like their process, rather than creating a strategy to create and build the future that they want. Their process is worrying about all the things that may go wrong in that future, rather than developing the plans to get to the better future, to completely avoid having the bad future ever come. And what happens to them 9 times out of 10? You spend all of that time worrying about the future, rather than creating the future that you want. Then the future you were worrying about, a version of that is going to come true. And this isn't some like, positive thinking exercise, right? I'm not saying like, oh, if you have some imminent like bad thing on the horizon and you're not worried about it, that it'll just go away. That's not what it is. As much as if you spend all of your time problem solving, looking for solutions, continually looking for ways around what you would be worrying about and how what you're worrying about can be avoided, the odds are if you meet in the middle, you're going to end up on the positive side of where you expected the worst case scenario to be, rather than if you just continually focus on the worst case scenario, you're going to end up on that side, in the negative side of what you create in the future, and again, it's not like positive thinking. It's not that a little bit of paranoia can't help you evade pitfalls and different sort of things that could happen to you. But it's like you just have to be aware of when it drifts into a place where you are now worrying about the future and essentially pulling yourself towards the outcome that you don't want to happen. And it's foundational, I think, in personal development and very practical and easy to understand, but hard to implement depending on what type of mindset that you are in, and again, it's this idea that, everybody's goal is to get up every day, know exactly what they're going to do that day, and live a day that's with intention, that's based off of what fulfills them, makes them happy, gives them energy, and ultimately that they enjoy. And that's experiencing the present, when you get to live life on your terms, with your intention, the way that you want. That's the present you want to experience. And then you want to go from present to present to present. That is that exact same way. And the only way that you can truly do that is to be experiencing and creating on an ongoing basis. And the only thing that will ever prevent you from living in the present and then experiencing the moment while looking towards the future and creating the next great moment and experience for you to live in the present is if you're either dwelling in the past and just dwelling in general, or you're worrying about the future or hoping the future was just different, or hoping all these bad things didn't come or would change. Like if you're in either of those states, you are going to never, ever get to a place that you are in a world where you're experiencing a richer, more vibrant present on an ongoing basis. Because you really want to begin to understand when you get locked into those places of no action, and know that that is the world that's going to keep you stuck, and that you want to get to a place of like problem solving, experiencing or creating on a continual ongoing basis, because that ensures that you will constantly be creating a better future for yourself, a life of intention that you want to live, and not accidentally filling your mind with all of the things you don't want to happen, or dwelling about the things that did happen and either leave you stuck or pull you towards those same negative things happening exactly when you didn't want them to happen in the first place. You've got to create your better future, not worry that your better future doesn't come. And I think that's what so many people do. They spend so much time focused on the things that they don't have, and dwell and wish and worry about the things that they wish they had or they don't have, or the things that happen to them, when the reality is a simple practice of either strategizing, problem solving, or creating the future will take the action and push you towards creating the future, rather than pull you into the future that you don't want through worrying about it. And it's a practice. You get better with it, and you see the things that you need to create to make your future better. Look at all aspects of your life and continue to focus on how do you do that in all aspects of life, and build your life into a place where you're constantly experiencing what you've created in the past, and pushing and planning and strategizing for what you're going to experience in the future. And that's a state where you will be enjoying life in a harmonious way over and over and over. And that's really what we're trying to do down here. Just live in that harmonious, high quality existence, man. And everybody has the ability to get there. It just takes time, awareness, and work to actually get there. And that's what I want for everybody, man. So look, appreciate you all for listening. As always, wherever you listen, always, like, subscribe, support, send to your friends, repost, do whatever you do. Give me a shout out. Let's talk about it. Let's be about it, because you know what you need to do. You need to put a plan together to create your better future. You got to be able to look out to that better future if you're ever going to get there. And then you don't want to dwell, wish, or worry. You want to take action and get there. Until next time, see it, believe it, do it.